Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now today we're going to be taking a look at ColorCl's latest addition to their Siesta Crystal edition. Trust me, I've had to say that a million times over and I stumbled so much, but we're here now, so we should all be happy. Now I'm super excited about these, mainly because of the fact that they're a slightly different take on the Iris series, which as you guys know, had that amazing texture and blended into the eye so well. However, this time around, ColorCl actually bumped up the brightness a little bit and then went ahead and added in a limbal ring to anchor them into the eyes a bit better, and let me tell you, these ones are absolutely freaking gorgeous. Now, as channel tradition dictates, I'm gonna go ahead and slip you some nudes of my naked brown eyes as I go ahead and read you the stats. The base curve is 8.6 millimeters, the diameter is 14.2 millimeters. These are available in prescription at no additional cost and will last you 6 months after opening. TLDR, these stats are exactly the same from the previous Crystal edition, so however those fit you, these will fit you the exact same way. Now, I do want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. These will be launching June 21st and will cost $15 a pack. However, ColorCl is doing a little bit of a launch event, so if you pick them up between the 21st of June all the way to the 28th of June, they will actually only be $12. And if this is the same as all of the previous events, on top of that, you'll be able to use my code ROB10 to get 10% off of your order. So before we take a look at each of the individual colors, let's have a quick chat about construction. Now, like I was saying earlier, these are based off of the Crystal Edition irises, and they are absolutely freaking gorgeous. They just had this amazing patterning, these flecks of color that were just so natural and blended in with the eye so well. So there was like the primary layer, which had more of the color. Then on this inside layer, it was a lot more sheer, but still had that texture, and it just created this really, really natural blend. The only thing that it lacked was a limbal ring. So what ended up happening is when you put them into the eye, they laid over your own natural limbal ring and just created this beautiful blend. However, as we know, eyes come in all different shapes and sizes, and some eyes are a little bit smaller. So what would happen is if you had an eye that was smaller and the contact laid over it, you would get some of these flecks sometimes stick out from the ends of your eye and not necessarily blend in with the limbal ring as much as you want them to. So what ColorCl actually went and did is they took basically the same print, and then underneath the print, they added in a limbal ring. Oh my god, freaking genius, because they created the limbal ring for you, right? Now, the cool thing about this is they actually have a couple different color combinations, which I absolutely love, and in addition to that, they bumped up the brightness just a little bit, so you get a bit more color payoff. You still get the gorgeous blend towards the center, however, it's just a little bit more eye-catching. So, I know I just said something about these being eye-catching, however, we are going to start things off with a little bit of a low note in the Halo Brown. Now, don't get me wrong, these are actually very, very pretty contact lenses, however, they are super duper subtle. They remind me a lot of the Siesta Black Cloud Browns, where they have a little bit of a cool, almost gray brown on the interior. These ones, however, are encapsulated with a chocolate brown limbal ring. It's very, very pretty. However, they are really close to my own natural eye color. So for those of you guys who are looking for something with a little bit more of a pop, these aren't necessarily going to be there for you. However, I am curious to see how these would look on people with more amber eyes, something that's a little bit of a warmer, brighter brown, because I think that they might blend in really, really well and kind of like cool that tone down for you and make a bit more of a markable difference. However, for me, it's not really much of a go. Now, when it comes to comparisons, the Halo Brown doesn't have any direct predecessors in the Iris series, so I figured that I would go ahead and show you how it compares to both the Hazel as well as the Khaki. Now, clearly up against the Hazel, these ones are much cooler, while the Hazels bring some warmth into the eye, which is the complete opposite of how these look against the Khaki. The Khaki actually have more of a green tone, while these kind of stay in that neutral gray area. Moving along to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we have Halo Amber, and if I'm gonna be completely honest with you, my relationship with these contacts are a little bit up in the air. You see, I really, really want to love them because they have this gorgeous, like, orange interior that's like encompassed in this chocolate brown limbal ring. It's super, super gorgeous. And when I slip them into my eyes, they blend in so beautifully, like legitimately, they're the perfect tone for my eyes to just brighten them and give this kind of liveliness. However, while in most lights, these are the perfect blend, Sometimes when I get really direct, bright light into them, they reflect back that orange very intensely, to the point where it almost kind of looks like cat eye-ish. Now, I'm sure there are some of you out there who are like, oh, that is right up my alley, and if you like them, go ahead and pick these up. But for me, when I wear these kind of like orangey brown contact lenses, it's really to bring out the natural features in my eye instead of bring attention to them in a really kind of oddly artificial way. So it really hurts my heart because I want to be like, oh my god, these are perfect, you guys. But for me, it's about 80% perfect and like 20% you turned into a cat man. I'm just being completely honest with you guys. However, like I said, if you wear them kind of towards the end of the day, because of the fact that you're more in low light settings, I think that these are going to be absolutely perfect. Now, as for comparisons, I'm putting these up against the Iris Hazel, and as you guys can tell, these ones are a lot brighter, while the Iris Hazels almost blended in a bit too much. I personally wish that ColorCl kind of bridged the gap between these two and took down the opacity of the Halo Ambers just a little bit more to make them blend a little bit better. But regardless, they are still beautiful in their own right. Both of these are, just depends on which end of the spectrum you want to fall in. So in the same vein as Halo Amber, we have Halo Sky. These two are the brightest of the Halo series, but if I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I think Halo Sky does it a bit better than Halo Amber. You guys know I love me a good orange contact lens when done right, and I pretty much hate all blue contact lenses. However, these ones I've actually been wearing a lot. Now, as the construction goes, it has like a little bit of a light blue interior that almost kind of reads blue-gray, but the limbal ring that they attach to this is a navy blue. Now, like I had said in so many of my other videos, I'm not a fan of blue lenses. However, I am a fan of grown and sexy lenses, and these are like the grown and sexy version of, what was it? Siesta Black Romance Mint. Now, in all of the close-ups, everybody loved Romance Mint on me. It was kind of like this teal, I don't know, it was just this teal that would end up going green on me in some lights, and I just did not like it. However, these ones are like the upgraded version, at least in my eyes, to those ones, because what ends up happening is you get the intensity of the navy limbal ring, very gorgeous, and then you get this kind of like blue-gray in the center, and instead of going this weird kind of emerald green and like some differing lights, these ones actually go more blue or blue-gray or grayish. And you know what? I can live with that. I'm happy with that. These are definitely my favorite blue contact lenses so far, and the blend on them into the brown, absolutely freaking gorgeous. Now, in comparison to its predecessor, Halo Sky looks a lot more blue than Iris Blue actually does. In fact, Iris Blue tends to read a little bit gray, and then in certain lights can catch a slight blue tinge. However, in this case, the blue is more prevalent, and then, you know, depending on the light you go into, it can read a little bit blue-gray. Alrighty, so next up we have Halo Green, and this one is a good bit closer to home. So instead of being as intense as the previous two, it's a little bit closer to the Iris series that we know and love. Now, this one, with its transformation, has become a little bit more of a mindfuck. Now, on camera, they definitely read green, and when you look in the blister, they definitely read green. However, in certain lighting situations, they can actually read like a soft teal blue, which is really odd, but you guys know that I really like mindfuck contacts that make people go, huh? What's happening there? What is going on with your eyes? And when I'm looking at it in natural daylight, it actually does look like a bluish greenish, and then when I'm kind of like in a little bit of a darker area, it kind of reads more of that emerald green. Now, you guys know I'm not a big fan of emerald green, so it is definitely not my thing. However, this shade I still think is really gorgeous for people who do lean more towards the cool colors. It's encased in this nice kind of like soft gray limbal ring, nowhere near as intense as the previous two that we looked at, so it does have a more natural blend, and it's got that really interesting shift. Now, in comparison to Iris Green, as you can tell, these two shades are actually not that far off, with Halo Green just being a little bit more intense. Now, the cool thing about this is, of course, you get a little bit more of a punchy color. However, if you're looking for something that's a bit more sheer, definitely go ahead and check out the Iris Green for a bit of a better blend, as opposed to something that kind of gives more of a heterochromatic effect. So speaking of greens, we finally arrived at my favorite contact in this entire collection. It is Halo motherfucking Khaki. Let me tell you right now, in the previous version, I didn't even realize that it was trying to make my eyes green. Just to let you know, it was just so sheer and so transparent. But in the Halo version, they encompassed it in this kind of like forest green limbo ring, and then they upped the intensity of all of like the olive green internals. It was so beautiful. It just lays in the eyes and blends so well, so you get this kind of olive blend with that beautiful texture into your own brown eyes, and oh my god, it's just nearly freaking unclockable. I love it. It's natural. It's the perfect shade of like yellowy green. Listen, I'm just letting you know right now, I don't know what life choices that you've made in the past 3 or 4 months, but pick these up and they will correct them for you. I'm letting you know right now. So your credit score will go up. All of a sudden, guys will start calling you back. Listen, it just aligns the universe for you. That's probably not something that I should guarantee, but I'm just letting you know it's a thing. They're beautiful, they're amazing, they'll make you feel good, okay? Now, in comparison to its predecessor, Halo Khaki is like 5, 10, 20 times more grown and sexy, because legitimately, Iris Khaki was very, very sheer, maybe too sheer. They kind of have a slight cooling green cast to your eyes, but legitimately, that was it. With the addition of that really rich limbo ring and the amped up olive green, oh my god, it just, don't even look at the other ones. The other ones don't exist. These are the ones that you need to pick up. And last, but definitely not least, we return to a place of comfort and joy when we take a look at the Halo Grays. Now, in comparison to the Iris Grays, I'm just gonna be straightforward with you. I like these ones better, but they didn't really have to do too much to improve upon them. So they actually went ahead and just added in a soft gray limbo ring, then dialed up the brightness just a tad, and it created the perfect gray contact lens. However, I do have to knock some points, because legitimately, when you're up at the top and your grays are near perfect, I'm gonna be nitpicky. And this is me nitpicking very, very small things. I wish the limbo ring was just like half a step darker, just to give a little bit more contrast between this and the actual like patterning on the inside itself. Aside from that, this is probably the best gray that they've done so far. It's got the blending, it does not go blue, the limbo ring just anchors it in, and it fixes my wonky eye, which is definitely a thing that I need my contacts to do. Listen, I can't be showing the world my wonky eye, and they have saved me from it. So much thanks for ColorCl for making another amazing gray, but just a half a step darker, okay? Now, as compared to the Iris Gray, these two are actually not that far off from each other. Halo Gray is just a little bit brighter, and of course it has the addition of the limbo ring. Now, if you've already picked up Iris Gray and they fit nicely in your eyes, then I would highly suggest just wearing those out until you need to go ahead and pick up a new pair. Then go ahead and try out the Halo Gray. However, if you got wonky eyes like I do and you need a little bit of a fix, or maybe you want a slight enlarging effect to your smaller eyes, these might be a great addition. Alright, so I've gone and slipped back into my grown and sexies to go ahead and close this out. Now, if I was going to recommend any pairs for you, of course, the Halo Khaki, don't even think on that one. Then, of course, we have the Halo Grays, which are just an upgraded version of the Iris Grays, and then, of course, the Halo Sky, which legitimately kind of blew my mind, because I didn't think I was going to find a grown and sexy version of a blue, but we got one. Finally! I also have to say that, you know, the Halo Ambers are still ones that I really, really want to work, so maybe just selective times of the day for me. Halo Greens weren't bad either. I just felt like I have a green that I like a little bit better in these Halo Khaki. It's really hard. It's really hard to come up against these ones. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, don't forget about the launch event that they are having from June 21st all the way to June 28th, when you can pick these up for $12 a pair instead of the regular $15. And don't forget to use code ROB10 to get 10% off of your order over at ColorCl.com. Regardless, that about does it for me for now. Leave all of your feelings about what you've seen down in the comments below. And as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.